We have shocking news coming out of Toronto saying that the Toronto Maple Leafs and Brad Treliving are interested in bringing back former forward Nazem Kadri via trade with the Calgary Flames. In this video, I'm going to break down the impact that acquiring a player like Nazem Kadri would have on the Toronto Maple Leafs going forward, and how will they make this cap work to bring on his full contract. So you're not going to want to miss this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say that 91% of you guys watching the videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date on the latest NHL news, make sure you're down below and hit that subscribe button. But with that said, let's just jump right into it. We got a report come out today where Sportsnet Elliot Freeman said earlier this week, actually, that the Leafs are looking to trade for a center. With all the injuries that they're dealing with right now, they need someone to fill this role because they have a lot of their AHL guys up right now, and obviously that isn't the best case scenario for a team like Toronto, who want to be in that playoff hunt all season long and are expected to make the playoffs and go on a little bit of a run. So, something's going to have to give here. We got about 8 players out right now, I believe it is. It's something wild like that. The injuries have been brutal for this Toronto Maple Leafs team so far. So they say there is a few teams also in the market for center as well. But then on the Real Kipper and Bourne show on Sportsnet on Friday, Doug McLean said that Calgary Flames forward Nazem Kadri is on the Leafs' radar, and his direct quote here, he said, "I said earlier today that was the gist of my whole show tonight, is that Toronto has to get Kadri." He says they gotta go get him. He said they have to go get him. And he says if you're going to play against the teams in the playoffs like the Panthers, the Hurricanes, the Devils, the Rangers, they need a Nazem Kadri. He also goes on to say here, everything he could do in his power, you go into the playoffs with the Toronto Maple Leafs with Matthews at 1, Kadri at 2, and Tavares at the 3. But I'll tell you what, if they get him and they go against Florida and these teams, it's going to be a different series. And I definitely have to agree here with what they're saying here. I think this trade would benefit the Toronto Maple Leafs exponentially. I think it's time for Tavares to play that third center role. I think we've seen him in that 2C. Yes, he hasn't been playing bad, don't get me wrong, but when you're going into the playoffs again and again with the same kind of format, the same players that aren't really doing anything in the playoffs, you need to switch it up. And a guy who is going to help out with that is Nazem Kadri, a guy who has been proven to do it in the playoffs as well as in the regular season. Obviously, during his time in Toronto, Nazem Kadri was under the microscope for a lot of the time, because obviously that was the reason he left. He was heavily criticized, kind of like Mitch Marner was last season, about his play, and that's kind of the reason he left. He went out and just started playing unreal hockey. He left Toronto and blossomed into a star into the NHL, which seems like a lot of former Maple Leafs end up doing once they leave Toronto, which is sad for Toronto Maple Leafs fans. Sorry that keeps happening to you guys, but you have a chance here to bring a guy back in Nazem Kadri, who, yes, he is older. He's 33, 34 years old. But if you want to be in that mentality that the time is now, we need to win the Stanley Cup now, going out and trading for these veteran players is your best option. You are going to sacrifice your future, there's no doubt about it. But would you rather go through 6 bad years of hockey in Toronto and with a cup under your belts, or would you just, rather, keep getting put out in the second, third round, maybe even be lucky to get in the third round? Sorry, Leafs fans, that's the Habs fan coming out at me. But if you had if you keep getting put out in the first, second round, something needs to change, and you're going to have to sacrifice your future to do so. There has been teams like the Chicago Blackhawks, when they were winning and winning and winning, the team just ultimately collapsed. Bufflin left, and obviously nowadays Kane isn't there, and it just all fell apart for the Chicago Blackhawks. But now they're in the rebuild. They got Bedard back. So this is what the Leafs are going to have to do. They're going to have to sell out, put everything on the line, put everything on the table to win a Stanley Cup. And that starts with Nazem Kadri. And like I alluded to, this guy has been great in the regular season. This season so far, 11 points in 21 games. Maybe not the best start, a half point per game player right now. But, it is Kadri. He can pick it up. He's going to go on a goal scoring rampage at some point this season. Last year, year, he had 75 and 82 with 46 assists, 29 goals. And the season before that, his first year in Calgary, he had 56 points. So last year, obviously, having great improvement from the year before. I think the team all around looked better last year. A lot of better statistics for this Calgary Flames club. But the big thing about Kadri and what Leafs fans want to hear is his playoff success. If we look at the last 3 times he was in the playoffs, all with the Colorado Avalanche, in 21-22, we had 15 points through 16 games with 7 goals, 8 assists, and then they only played 2 games in the 2021 season. But then in 19-20, in 15 games, he had 9 goals, 9 assists for 18 points. So this is what you're getting in Nazem Kadri, and this is what the Leafs need. Every time the playoffs roll around here in Toronto, we're all saying, the Leafs need that guy. They need a guy in the playoffs to step up. They need the Matthews, the Marner, the star players to step up, because it seems like every year William Nylander is that guy to put the team on his back, and, he can't do it alone. He needs people around him who are going to succeed in the playoffs. So I think Marner and Matthews will get there. I really hope that they're not just, snake bitten when playoff time comes, because obviously they're not going to win a cup like that. So getting a guy in like Kadri is going to help with the playoff scoring for this team. It is going to help out with the depth down to that center position, and it's definitely the best trade right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs, in my opinion. They got their decor perfect. They got it in the way they want it to be. They got the Tanevs, they got the OELs, they got so many great pieces this offseason. So now you just need to work on this forward core. Stolarz has looked good. Wall has looked good. The only thing that you need to worry about is this forward core at this point in time. And yes, I know what you're saying. How are the Leafs going to do this with Nazem Kadri's cap? I mean, if we just take a look at it right now, he is on a $7 million a year contract for till 2029, I believe that does say. He's in year 3 of 7 of this contract. So yes, you are taking a lot of money on here for a guy like Nazem Kadri. But like I said, if you're willing to go all in to win a Stanley Cup, and, you need to take that risk. You can't just keep, dancing around it. You need to either fully commit, or you can't half commit, because then you're never going to go anywhere with it. So if you go in, get Kadri here, I definitely think you would have to get him at retained salary with the way Toronto's salary cap is right now. They do have a few big contracts that they could move out here. In a trade, I'm expecting Nick Robertson to be the big piece in this trade on Toronto's side. They got their first round pick for next year and the year after. I don't think firsts will be mixed in here. I think maybe second or a third, but I definitely think Nick Robertson and a cap dump type player like David Kampf or somebody like this will be involved in this trade to make it work. And the picks will obviously, and Nick Robertson will obviously be the winning side for the Calgary Flames. Not the winning side, but like what would entice them to trade one of their star players in Nazem Kadri would be, a young guy for their future. They're kind of on the midst of, are we going to rebuild? Are we going to keep going with the core we got? So once they figure that out, I think getting a young piece in Robertson would definitely help the Flames out in the goal scoring category. There's no doubt about that. And if we just look at where we could see him fit on this lineup, obviously this is the Leafs lineup, I believe, for tonight's game. And when you look at that center position, it doesn't look good. You got John Tavares obviously up there with Matthews is out right now, so he's playing that first line. So you got Holmberg, Fraser Minton up from the AHL, scoring in his first his 5th NHL game, but first this season. Shout out to him for putting one up as first of his career. And then you got Connor Dewar down there. That's a guy I really like. I think Connor Dewar should be over the David Kampf on that 4th line center. I really like how he plays for this Toronto team. But when you look at this, Kadri obviously comes in. At this point in time, if this trade happened right like today or tomorrow, Kadri's coming in and playing that first line, see if Matthews not there, in my opinion. I think you put him up there with Bobby McMann and Mitch Marner, and these guys would go off. But in a perfect world where everybody's healthy, I do see Matthews, Kadri, and Tavares here, and I would put Dewar on that 4th line as a center core for this. I think this makes this team a lot more deep, especially to that center position, and also injects a lot more offense when you're getting a guy in like Kadri who just is coming off a 75-point season. You put him in on this second line with star players like William Nylander and probably Matthew Knies when he comes back. He might be playing that first line, who knows, but I do like that line there. I think if you had Knies, Kadri, and Nylander, this line would be absolutely lethal, and just having a guy like Kadri, who got 46 assists last season, to set up a guy in William Nylander, who is a great goal scorer. This line would be lethal. They'd be a great connection, and I really do hope that the Leafs do go out and get him, because like I said, we're going to run into it. The injuries right now. I mean, the injuries in Toronto right now are not fit. And I was right. There is 8 people injured. That is absolutely crazy. Matthews is out. Obviously, he traveled to Germany and all that whole thing went on. And anyways, it's looking, he's saying he's all right, but who knows? Who knows what's going on with Auston Matthews right now? You got Pacioretty out as well. You got Järnkrok out as well. David Kampf is out. Ryan Reeves is out. I believe he is suspended. Then you got Max Domi, Matthew Knies, OEL. That is a lot of big names to be out for this Toronto Maple Leafs team. So once these guys do come back, yes, it will be easier for this Toronto Maple Leafs team to string a few wins together. They haven't been playing bad without them, to be honest. They haven't looked too horrible, but I do like having Nazem Kadri in the mix here. I know it would take a lot for the Toronto Maple Leafs to acquire him. There's going to have to be a lot situated with the cap, but I do think with a Nazem Kadri trade, this Toronto Maple Leafs team is looking like a Stanley Cup winning team. They need that guy. I think Kadri, his story of coming back to Toronto and finally bringing a cup would just be amazing. It would put him in the right hearts of the fans of Toronto, and it would just be a great way for him to kind of wrap up his career, ending it where he started in Toronto. One of your guys' thoughts down below. I know a lot of Leafs fans are probably going to be like, we don't want Kadri back. Some of you guys are like, oh man, I miss Kadri. I wish we had him. Let me know your thoughts on this trade down below in the comment section. Love to hear from you guys. And if you guys enjoyed this one, make sure you're down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road for 7,000 subscribers here on the channel. So if you're not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to check out a video we did the other day about the Auston Matthews traveling to Germany stuff, popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.